Hello guys, welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this. In order to make this, we're going to need Blender and After Effects. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. First, we're going to make the 3D scene. For the Moon Knight 3D model, I'm using a Mummy 3D model from Sketchfab, specifically this 3D model from Uma Taliev. I download it and open it in Blender. And fortunately, this 3D model already contains the rigging, so we can animate it later on. And then I modify the 3D model to look like Moon Knight by adding this chest part, the emblem, the glowing white eyes, the hood, and I modified the texture a bit, and I give it some cape and accent, like so. After the Moon Knight 3D model is done, here's how I set up the 3D scene. I'm making some asphalt road below the Moon Knight, and I make this building following Ian Hubert tutorial with the glowing room inside it, so there's some lighting from the building. And then as for the Moon Knight 3D model, I'm giving it some spotlight lighting, like here, here, and here. And to make it look more mysterious, I'm using Principled Volume and plug it into the volume socket in the World Output tab. So if I can preview it, there's going to be some foggy scene here. And then I can test render the scene so I can get the picture of how the 3D scene is going to be. For this Moon Knight 3D scene, don't worry, I'm going to share it for you guys for free. You can check the link in the description. After making the 3D scene, now we're going to shoot the footage. Here's the layout of the shooting process. The subject standing in the middle with the green screen behind it, and it's lit by LED light, so it's going to be easier to key the green later on. And the subject is lit by a key light from the softbox. I have an affordable softbox and it costs around 15 bucks. And the camera is on the tripod, like so. As for the pose, here I want the subject to look down for a few seconds, and then looks up and get into the stood up pose, and finally hold that pose for a few seconds, and done. Now we're going to match the footage to the 3D scene. Find the point in the footage where the subject is in the stood up pose, and then press Ctrl Alt Print Screen to get the screenshot, and then I'm going to paste it into Microsoft Paint and save it into image. Back to Blender, first open the image in the Image Editor tab. And then you can go to the camera view to match the scene. First, we're going to match the standing angle by making an empty below Moon Knight, and parent the Moon Knight bone to the empty. Now, in the camera view, we can rotate the Moon Knight to match the standing angle. And then we're going to match the pose by go into the pose mode and adjust the pose of the Moon Knight to match the pose from the footage. You can also match the position and angle of the camera by selecting the camera and move and rotate it along the axis. As for the lighting, I'm going to match the key light that comes from the right side of the footage with the spotlight in Blender, and set the power around 1000 watt. As for these other two spotlight, I'm just going to tone the number down so there's still some fill light. After matching the 3D scene, I'm going to test render it. Now I'm going to animate the Moon Knight pose. So make sure you're on the first keyframe, go into the pose mode, select all the bone, and hit I to insert location and rotation keyframe. And then go to frame 25 and adjust the pose to stand down. Here I lower the hand and the head pose. Finally, select again all of the bone and press I to insert location rotation keyframe. Now we have the animation. Maybe it's too short, so I'm going to grab the last keyframe and drag it to frame 28. Make sure you also change the end frame range to 30. After the animation is done, I'm going to show you all the passes that you need to render in Blender. I already separate the object into several collections to make it easier to organize. So, what I want to render is the background building only, the Moon Knight without the hood, only the first frame, and its alpha channel, and then the Moon Knight with the hood, the image sequence, and its alpha channel. The reason I render the alpha channel separately is because the transparent background doesn't work with volumetric lighting. To choose what collection you want to render, simply disable other collection in the viewport and in the render. To render with the transparent background, make sure you go to Render Properties, under Film section, and check the Transparent menu. And then you can save it as PNG sequence with RGBA option selected to get the transparent data. Now we're in After Effects. We can start by importing the render path from Blender. For the Moon Knight layer, make sure you put the one with the volumetric lighting below the alpha channel. And then you can toggle this button and set the track matte to alpha matte. And for the one with the hood, now we will only import the first frame of the animation. And then do the same thing to the track matte. Now select the layers without the hood and pre-comp it. And then do the same to the layers with the hood. And then I'm going to import the footage and add key light effect to remove the green screen. You can click this icon to pick the green color from the footage. To remove some unwanted object, choose Pen tool to only mask the subject. After that, we're going to clean up the key light, so go to Screen Matte View. We need to make sure the subject is completely white and the background is completely black. We can do this by tuning the screen gain and screen balance. And then you can open Screen Matte option and also play around with the settings. Finally, we can add Matte Choker to remove unwanted edges on the key. Now, you can change the position, rotation, and scale of the footage to match Moon Knight. We're going to make the bandage mask for the Moon Knight. First, hide this layer and duplicate this one several times. Here I'm going to make the mask and separate it into several layers. With the pen tool, first start with the emblem and continue to the other part, like the body, the hand, the cape, and the neck. Also, don't forget to rename the layer so you can organize it easily later on. Here's all the layer masks that I've made for Moon Knight without hood prompt. Next, I'm going to do the same thing to Moon Knight with hood comp to cover the hood and the head part. Make sure you also cover the parts that have shadow from the hood, because we need to reveal it too later on. And here's all the layer mask that I've made for Moon Knight with hood comp. Finally, we get into the most interesting part, the suit up animation. For this part, I will show you the example from the chest part. Start with the Moon Knight emblem, because the other parts are basically have similar process. First, put the footage below the Moon Knight suit, and then hide all of the Moon Knight suit layers. You can look for the point in the footage where the suit up pose begins, and mark the layer. We can then animate the mask expansion of the Moon Knight emblem. So jump a few frames forward, set the keyframe of the mask expansion, go backward a few frames, and decrease the mask expansion pixels until the emblem is gone. You can select both keyframes, press F9 to smooth the animation, go to the graph editor, and move it so the animation goes fast at the start and right at the end. Make sure you check the motion blur, and the emblem part animation is done. And then we're going to reveal the chest bandage. Just select all layers and make a shape layer with pen tool, and start around from emblem, because we want the animation to start there. You can edit the stroke with selection tool, and make sure the stroke width covers the chest bandage. After that, put the shape layer above chest bandage layer, and add trim path. Find the point in timeline right before the emblem animation finish, and then insert the end trim path keyframe and set it to 0. Go a few frames forward and set it to 100. Select both keyframes and press F9 to smooth the animation. And in the graph editor, grab the curve like this so the animation gets fast at the start. Make sure you check motion blur and set the shape layer as the alpha matte for just bandage layer. As for the bandage growing effect, I'm going to add stroke width animation. Insert the stroke width keyframe right before the trim path animation finish. Move backward a few frames, then you can decrease the stroke width. And to make the growing animation look more organic, I'm going to add roughen edges to the shape layer, and play around with the settings until I'm happy with the result. For the emblem and chest bandage part, I'm adding drop shadow to get some shadow on the subject. Make sure it has the same direction from the lighting, and play around with the distance, softness, and opacity settings to match the shadow in your footage. For the chest bandage part, first you need to pre-compose these two layers. Then you can add the drop shadow effect, and put the pre-compose below the emblem layer. And preview the animation. After the emblem and chest bandage animation, now we can reveal the rest of the chest part. Create new solid layer, put it above the chest plate layer, and add fractal noise effect to the solid layer, like so. Increase the contrast and scale it down. To make the reveal, first hide the solid layer. Find the point in timeline where the chest bandage animation is almost done, and then unhide the solid layer. Decrease the brightness until it's completely black. Then insert the keyframe. Move a few frames forward and increase the brightness until it's completely white. Finally, unhide the chest plate layer and set the track matte to Luma matte. Again, smooth the keyframe with F9 and set the graph editor so the animation gets fast at the start and the end. Now we can preview it. The animation for the chest part is done. Here I'm showing you the time lapse of making the suit up animation, because the rest of the suit up process is similar to the chest part that I have shown you earlier. Now all the suit up animation is done. Let's take a look. As you can see, the subject is start to picking up, and we can cut it by pressing Alt and bracket. The trickiest part is to make the animation smooth and goes continuously from start to finish. So from the start, the emblem revealed, right after the emblem revealed, the chest bandage has started the animation, and then followed by lower chest and the hand, and then the body part revealed, followed by the cape, the neck, finally the hood and the head part. To make sure the animation goes continuously, I overlap the timing of the animation a little bit. For example, right before the emblem animation finished, the chest bandage animation already started. Same here, right before the chest bandage animation finished, the lower chest part animation started as well, and it goes further to the rest of the Moon Knight suit. Another thing is that for the part where there's a lot of bandage, like the hand, I'm using the trim pad and set to individually instead of simultaneously. So if I choose individually, the hand bandage will goes one bandage at a time instead of all revealed at the same time. Same like in the head bandage, I also use individually instead of simultaneously. And last thing about the smooth animation is I make sure the speed graph is also goes continuously. For example, this hood part. It looks like a single motion because I edit the speed graph to goes continuously. For the first part of the hood, this one, let me show the speed graph. It goes from slow to fast at the end of the animation. And after that, the second hood will follow. The second hood is the one with the tip. The second hood will follow with the high speed right at the start and go slow right at the end. So it followed the motion of the first hood. And if you play it, it looks like a single motion, like so. Now after the stood up animation is done, we can go ahead and import the Moon Knight animation sequence. First we choose the one with the volumetric lighting. Select the first frame. Make sure you check the image sequence option. After that, we import the alpha channel image sequence as well. Place it after the stood up animation is done, and set the track matte to alpha matte. We also need to select all the Moon Knight stood up animation layers and pre-compose it. Then cut the comp right at the start of the image sequence. For the image sequence layers, we need to pre-compose it as well. And then go to the last part of the image sequence, split the layer, and set the last frame to freeze frame, so we can make it longer. I'm going to set the end of the work area at the 10-second mark and preview it. The Moon Knight Soda part is done. Now I'm going to show you how to make the glowing eyes. Find the point in timeline where the eyes are already covered. We can hide the Moon Knight suit layer for now. Create new solid layer, set the opacity down, and make the mask for the right eye with pen tool. Add a little bit of feather to smooth the mask. Now, give the solid layer gradient ramp effect. For the start color, we're going to sample it from the white part of the subject's eye. And the end color is the darker version of the start color. Set the start of ramp around the eyeball and end point somewhere near it. Don't forget to set the ramp shape to radial. Here I'm adjusting the color to make it brighter. After that, give the solid layer inner shadow from the layer style menu to simulate the shadow from the eyelid. Play around with the setting to match the footage. Finally, add glow effect to the solid layer and set the glow color to A and B. And then you can adjust the color of the glow. Here I'm playing around with the glow threshold and radius. Next you can duplicate the glow effect and don't forget to set the B color of the glow as well. Then we need to motion track the eye so the glow effect stick to the footage. Make new null layer, select the footage, and go to track motion. I'm going to set the tracker to the corner of the eyelid because it has good contrast. And then you can hit analyze backward. You can stop the track and manually adjust the tracker if the track goes off the rail. Here fortunately my tracker stays on place. I'm going to stop the track right here because I want the glow effect to start from there. After that, edit target, set the target to the null, press OK, and hit apply. You can select the null object, go to the last keyframe, and parent the eye solid layer to the null. And around the start of the keyframe, I'm going to animate the opacity of the solid layer from 0 to 100. Now, we have glowing eye. And you can do the same thing to the other eye. Finally, we're going to match the footage color to the scene. First, I'm using level. You can try to match the level in each of the RGB channel. For example, I'm going to set the levels to the red channel and set the channel in the composition panel to red as well. You can try to adjust the red channel level until the footage match with the scene. And then do it also to the blue and green channel. Try so that the footage blend together with the scene. After that, set the view back to RGB. As you can see, it haven't matched quite well, so I'm going to continue to match the level in each channel until I'm quite happy with the result. After that, I'm going to add hue and saturation effect to tone down the saturation of the footage and add some brightness and contrast. Now, I think the result is good enough. For the final touch, I'm just going to add some smoke and remove the green screen with key light. Add some color grading with curves, and done. So that's it guys, Moon Knight Transformation VFX. If you have any feedback and suggestion, let me know in the comment below or in my Instagram. Hope you guys find this video useful. See ya!